Rasta loving her where she want, Rasta loving her where she need. Me say she want a man figure her and a loving and a kissing just to make she feel like she wrap up in a fantasy. Yeah. Whoa, yeah. I came home early from work. She was on the telephone talking to her best friend. She didn't know I was around. I really didn't need to listen to her conversation, but they were talking about another man in my home. So I decided to play it cool, though I was feeling like a fool. Let me hear her tell her friends to chef and left them cars. If it's meant to be, I'll come back to you. To my delight, I heard her explain what it is that she was saying. She said, what you really need is the loving of a strong man. You need a man who can deliver, a man who make your body quiver, a man to give you loving all night long. You'd feel it 7 days after he's gone. Rasta loving her where she wants, Rasta loving her where she needs. Me say she want a man figure her and a loving and a kissing just to make she feel like she up in the fantasy. Rasta loving her where she wants, Rasta loving her where she need. Me say she want a man figure her and a loving and a kissing just to make she feel like she up in the fantasy. Now comes another day, same old scenario. Sit back, let me tell you how the story goes. She says, Mama, I've got something to tell you. Please don't be disappointed. The man you're choosing for me treats me horribly. She's found somebody new from the other side of town. Treats her so damn good, she doesn't want to come down. Takes her for long walks, stroll around.
Welcome back to another Class's Kingdom Reaction video with yours truly, TR NayariX representing. Yes, the name Nayeri is from Africa, Tanzania to be exact. Are you prejudiced? And if you are, leave it in the comment section. What are you prejudiced about? Anyway, today we're looking at an old video that was recorded in 1956 with 4 students from Indonesia, Japan, the Philippines, and the UK. And these kids, you would be surprised at their conversations, quite stimulating with the answers to questions and their input on what being prejudiced is about, and also sharing their own prejudice experience. Join us while we watch them in a stimulating conversation, debating being prejudiced, or what it is to be prejudiced. All right, so without further ado, let's dive right in. But if you're new here, I want to say welcome to you, welcome aboard. If you're not yet subscribed, it's now a good time to hit that subscription button, hit the bell as well so you'll be notified when we go live, when we premiere, or even upload. Thank you so much for coming. Fasten your seat belts, guys. This baby can really go. And get a cup of water or whatever you drink. Get it beside you because this is going to be a ride. Let's go.
Welcome to our forum discussion on the roots of prejudice. We'll be talking about what our prejudices are, where they came from, how they're nourished, and perhaps even how to get rid of them. Let me introduce you to the 4 student participants.
How to get rid of them.
In today's discussion. Ratnati Iskandar Dinata, high school student, 17 years old, and also a talented dancer from Indonesia. From Japan, Yoriko Konishi, whose lovely voice you've just heard. From time to time, we like you to get a sense of what we do in all those times when we aren't having serious discussions. We very often get Yoriko to dance or sing for us. She does both. From the United Kingdom, 18-year-old Judith Reader. Judith's got a bit of a cold today, It did not come from swimming in the Atlantic Ocean, although she assures us that when she's in England, she does swim in the ocean during the winter. From the Philippines, Raul Contreras. Raul will be 16 years old, patriotically enough, on the 4th of July. He may admit some prejudices, but one he obviously doesn't have is a prejudice against women, or he wouldn't have been willing to appear tonight with 3 women being the only male on the program. Now, on this question of prejudice, perhaps we ought to start out by trying to define what you think prejudices are. What do you think prejudice is, Ratnati?
I think prejudice is a feeling of hate of people as a group or individual toward other people.
You say a feeling of hate. Do you think prejudice is as strong as hate?
Yes. When we ask somebody if he has a prejudice, then the answer will be, I hate such and such.
Well, I suppose that is true. What do you think prejudice is, Yoriko?
Well, I have found out that if somebody distinguishes between 2 white men, it is not prejudice. But if somebody distinguishes between a white man and a colored man, it is prejudice.
I would define prejudice as a rigid opinion formed about a certain thing before there has been a just examination of the facts.
When a person loses track of the dignity of the human soul and begins to judge others not on the basis of their being persons, but on the basis of race, creed, economic status, that is prejudice.
Well, is it fair to ask you whether you have any prejudices?
Well, I guess so, Mrs. Waller, and being brutally frank, I'm prejudiced against Japanese. Well, not to the extent that I hate them, no, not that way. But I got this, well, as a result of World War II. Because, well, I guess I was yet too young to understand what happened during those times. But I think that what my relatives and friends and the people who were witness to that unfaithful occasion, well, they just more than justified the fact. And I think it's justified for me to feel the same way because, well, I know that my people suffered very much under that rule.
You still as prejudiced against the Japanese as you were?
Well, 5 years ago, that prejudice of mine was, well, slightly fading away. But when Japan stubbornly refused to pay reparations to us, well, the prejudice began to brew again. But now I found out from close contact with Yoriko and other Japanese that Japan isn't ready to pay reparations yet, because as Yoriko said, some of them, and most of them, even have to suffer the cold in the classrooms because they can't afford to heat the schools.
Yoriko, you've got any prejudices?
Well, I don't have any prejudice for Philippines, but
I just want to say quickly, this voice, his voice is so deep. He speaks so profound. He knows. He's done his research. And I like how he sounds like somebody who could defend themselves well. And I always believe that if there is any person to defend oneself, it should be you. You should be able to defend your beliefs and defend what you stand for. And it sounds like he's such person thinking. Bear in mind that this was 1956 and he was only 3 years old during the World War. And he speaks of his prejudice against Japanese because they fail to pay reparations to the Filipinos, knowing that, you know, they back in World War II was a part of. Just very impressive how smart he sounds at only 15, and he's delivering his message so eloquently. I'm looking forward to a very strong debate here. Let me know in the comment section what you think about the meaning of being prejudiced, you know, and let me know if you are, and if you think what happened in 1956 is still present today. Let's go back in.
the president of Korea made the line, his own line, on the public sea between Korea and Japan. And if the Japanese fishermen go over the line, they are caught by Korean people, and they can't go home for a while. And we are trying to be a friend for Korea.
Now that we've started, we better go on around the circle. Judith,
She's
you
so
got any
sweet and
prejudices
innocent.
that you admit?
Yes, I suppose I'd better admit them, although I'm English. I have some very foolish prejudices, you'll probably laugh. For instance, as soon as I meet a person with red hair, I always put myself on my guard because I have a silly prejudice that all red-headed people have terrible tempers, you know, that they're as passionate as the color of their hair. Oh, and then I have another silly prejudice.
Do you know that?
For example, when I first met the Australian delegate, Elizabeth Woodgate, who has been on television, I was shocked by her accent, because to me it sounds just like a Cockney accent would in England. And I hope I'm not conceited or anything, but a Cockney accent in England, you know, most English people would shudder a little bit when they hear it. But she very frankly told me that she shuddered when she heard my accent. So I got paid back for that, too.
Why did she say she did?
Oh, I think she imagines that... she said she really had to forget my accent in order to like me, because it's
Oh, really?
too formal. I gather most Americans think about that about the English as well. So.
Ratnati, it's your turn.
Well, sometimes I find prejudice against the Dutch people when in school when I learned the history and learned how the Dutch people treated Indonesian. And I've some other prejudices of my own. That's I hate people who are proud and who feel that he is the master of the other people and who thinks that he knows everything than anybody else.
Let's come back to you a minute, Raul. Are there any prejudices in the Philippines between groups of people?
Yes, there are existing prejudices between groups of people. As a matter of fact, most of us still, well, are prejudiced against a group of hybrids, those who have more Spanish blood than Filipino blood in them, and we term them as mestizos. Well, these incidents, usually occur in the schools. As you know, I'm in a school run by Spanish monks, and we have a lot of we have a lot of those of that group studying in our school, and usually they are favored. But we think, and we think that we are right in saying that they are sort of aristocratic, conceited, and high-headed, and sore-headed, and all sorts of adjectives, and they have the foolish idea that they have the royal blood or royalty in them.
Well, how do you get along with these boys in school, Raul? Are there any problems?
Well, frankly speaking, I don't get along with them pretty well. As a matter of fact, we usually fight with one another.
Is there any problem? Yes, Yoriko.
Yes, Japan have had many American or European soldiers after the war, and most of them married with Japanese girls, not only formal wedding, and they made children who called hybrids. And I think the hybrids have nothing to be punished, but some grown-ups didn't used to treat as the Japanese children. And grown-ups also used to treat the mothers of children. Japanese people thought that the mothers of hybrids are not good. They are horrible because they married with foreign people, foreign boys, and many Japanese people don't like to marry with foreign people because they live in different customs, and they consider with different ways.
You still have a strong, may I say, prejudice in Japan against marrying people from other countries, don't you?
Well, yes.
Yoriko,
Yeah.
Could you tell us something about the status of women in Japan? We hear the strangest things, and you've been telling me the strangest things. Could you tell us more about it?
Before the war?
Yes, and now. Or before.
Well, up to about 60 years ago, Japanese people thought that the white people are horrible because they are almost red hairs and everything is so big and about bodies. And quite a few people still think so. And in Japan, we think that something to be beautiful must be small and delicate.
You can hardly apply the word
You think so,
delicate
too?
to some of the big soldiers we sent to Japan, could you? But I never knew that you looked down on us because we were big. That's very interesting.
We're always proud of if the Western men are tall and handsome. We consider that yes.
Oh, we're proud to be small and delicate.
What you said about skin color, Yoriko, I've heard that the Chinese speak about us as pink people instead of white people. It's so much more difficult to be proud of being a pink person, isn't it?
Oh, yes, you're a pink person.
Might as well face it, Judith. Here we are.
I feel scarlet.
Ratnati, let's get...
Yes? Judith. Judith, since British has so many colonies and, well, let's say, nearly in all over the world, how do you feel towards the people in the colonies? Do you have some prejudice?
No, I personally don't have any prejudice. At least I hope I don't. But I know that a lot of Europeans think of the Asians, for example, as rather lazy. I don't mean to be rude, but that used to be the impression we had. You know, when we started our colonization, we thought we were doing good to you. I know that you dislike, for example, in Indonesia, you dislike the Dutch there. But they probably thought they were helping you.
They were not helping us. See, you mentioned that we're lazy. We are not exactly lazy, but they didn't give us a chance, see? And we didn't get experiments to build our country.
Well, Judy, I don't think all Asians are lazy.
No, please, you're misunderstanding me. I said that was a general opinion. Maybe not now. I hope certainly not.
General opinion, but well, when it's not, it's well, sort of wrong to say that they are lazy. Let's just say that they've got very flat feet that they can't lift them up. Because you've got to consider, for example, the climate in most of the regions in Asia. Well, it's just but natural. You can't just work with all the warm climate around you. Of course, you'd always feel like fanning yourself, or going to an air-conditioned theater or something else where it's cold.
Is there not only this difference of climate that explains a difference in tempo, but is there a difference in philosophy, too, that perhaps we in the West haven't appreciated, I wonder?
Before we go into that part, as you see again, he defends his country well, and he defends his property. He defends his intelligence, his intel, you know, whatever he knows, he believes strongly in it. And because of his conviction, he's able to transcend to his viewers and listeners that what he's saying is rather factual. That is really good. We see that the lady from Indonesia, the little one from Indonesia, she's a little bit shy, and she's a little bit more reserved, and also young Japanese. I like her style. She's very subtle and very calm, but the British right here, and of course our gentleman from the Philippines, are the aggressor in this team. They are really forward, and they are very fluent. They know exactly what they're saying, and they know exactly how to defend their rights, which is very good. So let's just go back in. But of the things that has been said, did you know that most of what they're saying, I did not know that these things were a situation in any country. You know, she said that, you know, she believed that anything beautiful had to be little and delicate. Did you think that too? I've never heard anything like that before. And they were like, you know, not comfortable with Americans and people from the Western world because we were like big, you know, kind of giantish. And, you know, they looked at us as, you know, you never know. You know, in countries, the way people think of other people, even before they were colonized, you know, this is really serious. Let's get back into it, you know, before I get caught up into talking too much.
Well, as far as I know it, and, well, I think you've mentioned it in this program, that Indians think that they should never soil their hands. And in the Philippines, I must admit that, well, we're sort of inclined to get white-collar jobs and swivel chairs. Most of us do, especially the new college graduates. We don't want to work with our hands. We want to have, well, big bosses and with pretty secretaries around us. That's the common tendency.
could you give a proof that we are lazy?
Oh, gosh, now you put me in a corner. I was trying to give you an example.
She's offended.
You
She's
criticise
certainly
the
offended by
countries
that.
You criticise the Dutch, for example. But I know the British, when they started doing their colonization, they tried to help the countries they were in. But you think that we were butting in and taking away your opportunities?
Well, yes, I think so. I'll give an example about the Dutch that we didn't get a chance to be educated, for example.
That was when the Dutch were there?
Yeah. And do you think if the people in the colony get a chance to get free, you will get them? Do you think?
Oh, now we're going right off the subject.
Yeah. See, my friend from Malaya is very glad that Malaya will get the independence next year. She's very proud, and she tells everybody that Malaya is going to be independent next year. Do you think that if you do that to the other places, then you
Yes,
will make them satisfied?
Well, we hope it will make them satisfied. Every country wants to be independent. That's only natural. But there comes a point somebody to decide whether they're ready to receive their independence. But I know we could go off on another long argument about that.
Maybe we can have I'm sorry, Ralph.
Well, I was about to ask them, what do they think are the most common or basic causes of our prejudices? Is it mainly skin color?
Well, maybe.
Do you mean, for example, taking the American trouble in the South?
I guess taking the American side of it, it's just that the white people don't want to mix themselves up with the colored ones.
But what about the colored people? Perhaps they don't want to mix with the white people either.
Well, what about, since you brought up the American race problem, I'd like to ask you, is it as bad as you thought it was going to be before you came, or is it better or worse?
Well, I think it's what I've seen here and what I've heard while I am here and what I have read in the newspapers, it's just worse than I expected.
Don't you agree, Judith?
No, I don't agree. In England, we don't hear too much about the American problem, except, of course, when a certain case came up and the Supreme Court decision, we heard a lot about it then. But not too much. And when I came here, I had imagined from the Tiller case that things would be really terrible in the South. And I found that there's a real feeling of optimism here. I stayed in a Negro family, and I was able to see the position, really a bird's eye view of it, you might say. And the first thing that impressed me was that the Negroes themselves were not happy about the situation, but were pleased. They were grateful for what progress had been made, and they were sure that the situation would continue to improve.
Is that the 2 weeks you were in New Jersey that
Yes,
you stayed in the
right,
Negro family?
when I was in the Negro family. I know that was in the northern part, and conditions are better there. And I was very impressed with that. They said it would be a slow process, but things were gradually improving. It was a matter of breaking down tradition, and I was very happy to find that.
I'd like to know some of your other experiences with, yes, Yoriko.
I've never seen any evidences of racial prejudice in the United States, but I found out that most Negroes are laborers, and they don't have a high position on business. But I was very glad when I saw the Negro girl in South Orange in Columbia High School, who was the vice president of the student council.
I'm glad you did too. Yes, Ratnati.
Here in New York and New Jersey, I don't see any racial segregation or something like that. But when we stop in Williamsburg and we stop in Negro school, I saw it's very strictly. I mean, the Negro school go to the special Negro, and I was talking to some of the girls in the school, and I asked them how they feel about being segregated. But they said that they don't mind about that, and what they want is equal rights. And there are some places that they can go, such as restaurant or some clubs. And I think that since all Americans claim and emphasize that America is the most democratic country in the world, and as long as segregation exists, I don't think it's a democratic. pure democratic.
Well, adding something to that.
Yes, and before you add something to that, I just want to say that that is actually the situation today. She said when she was in South Orange, that is in New Jersey, right here where I live, that she noticed that the colored skin stayed by themselves and the whites stayed by themselves. But not only that, she said when it comes on to higher positions, they were all filled by whites. There was hardly any colored people in positions. And that is actually still something that exists today in some areas. And I will explain further what I mean. In terms of culture and support, I kind of see where whites are more supportive of its kind, while there's always a segregation between colored people. There's always a fight between themselves, and colored people support white businesses. But the other way around, white does not necessarily support black businesses. They keep the riches and they keep the wealth among themselves and shared. And for those who are in the capacity to employ people in higher position, they normally make sure that they recruit or hire people of their kind to fill the positions. So that was more frequent back in the day. It is not necessarily totally so now, because we have a lot of colored people that has risen to the occasion and has launched their businesses and their establishments, and they are trying to so it has reduced, I must say. That situation has reduced, but it still exists until today. There are areas that will not allow colored people to participate in some things. So this has been going on for years, because if you notice, this is 1956, if I may remind you, and today we still have some of these same problems of prejudice in our cities and towns and countries and our areas. So let's get back to the discussion. Hot and spicy. I am really loving it.
Adding something to that, isn't it that, well, in the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag, you mentioned something about, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation indivisible under God, with liberty and justice for all. Well, the last phrase just doesn't suit everything. I mean, with this segregation problem here and the discrimination against colored people, how in the world could you have liberty and justice for all? And in one of my hospitality periods, I didn't expect that even the kids could carry it that far. I had the, privilege, I should say, of attending one of the dances sponsored by one of the civic groups. And I just noticed that, well, it was a big dance floor, and all the white kids were assembled on the left side, and the most, shall we say, not strategic part of the ballroom, well, all the colored boys and girls were in there. And I never saw a white boy asking a colored girl for a dance, nor did I see a colored boy asking a white girl for a dance.
I had a nasty experience too. When I first arrived here, and I happened to mention to a group of young people that I was going to stay with the Negro family, one of the boys got up and walked out of the room, and I felt awful. I thought, well, we're in the north now, not in the south. And then when we did go into the south, I really came against it pretty hard. We went into this big store, and I was in the ladies' cloakroom, and I was washing my hands, and I was with a group of the Eastern delegates, the rather darker-skinned ones like Ratnati. And I was standing a little apart from them, and this lady came up to me, and she pulled me to one side, obviously assuming that I was American, and she said, what are these Negroes doing in here? And I was so cross, and I told her as calmly as I could that I was with them and who we were, and of course her attitude immediately changed. But it gives you such a nasty shock when you come up against it face to face. You read about it in the newspapers, you hear about it, but you don't really realize the significance of it until it hits you in the face yourself.
I think the major cause of the prejudice is skin colors, and I think I don't know why, but I think the white people think that colored people have dirty skin, and they don't have progressive culture. So, so the white people are the most great and wonderful person in the world. Thank you, sir.
On this matter of skin color, if you were here in the summer, you'd see lots of Americans on all the beaches trying to get brown.
Yes, it's significant.
I wonder what that really means.
I think we white women have an inferiority complex. The Eastern women and the Negro women have a sort of reputation for being so beautiful.
I guess
We're a
you
little
just-
jealous of them.
I guess you just envy us colored people.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, is there anything corresponding to that in...
Well, I think so, Mrs. Waller, because in the Philippines, it's just funny. There's a common tendency among women, well, those who have a dark complexion, I should say, or just a tanned one, or just a brown complexion. Well, especially these high society matrons. Well, even if they've got already wrinkles on their face, they still want to bleach their skin. Suppose you meet one right now and you say, oh, good morning, and you see that she's just tanned and brown. But after 3 months, you meet the same person, and with the usual society walk, and trying to be very dignified and cultured and everything. And you just notice that her face is lighter than before. And when you look at her hands and everything up to her arms, well, you'll be likable to exclaim, Holy Moses, because there's a real, very great difference, you see. She's about very light here, but you look at the arms and everything, and the lower part of the body, but gee, it's just a very great difference. It's colored here, but it's very light.
They really
on
bleach
the
their
face.
skins?
They do, Mrs. Waller. They
What
pay.
about Japan? Does that... Japanese women don't want to change it anyway, do
Some Japanese women, right, how do you say?
they? Dye?
Dye their hair red.
Really?
Yes. They like a red hair, but I don't like it.
What about Indonesia?
Well, as the Western people try to get darker skin, we try to get lighter skin, but we prevent the sun. I mean,
But you're such a nice color now. I don't mind. I think it's
when
so
we go
cool.
out, then we use long sleeve blouse to prevent from the sun, so we don't get a very dark color skin.
Tell me, what are your governments, if anything, doing about problems of prejudice? You've each mentioned some prejudice that exists in your country. What are your governments doing to try to eradicate it? You mentioned the prejudice against hybrids. You mentioned the prejudice against hybrids, too. You haven't told us much about the position of women. Otherwise, by the way, let me ask you right here, are women any freer in Japan now than they were before the war?
Well, before the war, there was no democratic, and women belonged to men, and men controlled women in everything, and
How about
men
now?
had first opportunity to everything. Even getting out of the door, women had to open the door first, and men passed first. And in the buses or theaters, men take seat first, and if there's no seat, women had to stand up.
Oh, I'd love to live in Japan.
Oh,
But they do that in America and England now.
yes,
Is it changing at all?
yes, quite changed. And just now, women can vote, and women have equal opportunity in everything.
Judith, you were talking about your prejudice against Cockney accent a moment ago. Is that still very strong in England, this prejudice of the so-called aristocracy against the Cockney?
No, I don't think it's a very serious problem now, especially since the war. You know, this idea that the English speak either with a Cockney accent or else with a very aristocratic accent, that isn't true anymore. And we certainly don't despise people anymore if they speak with that. If you go into the House of Parliament now, you will often hear a North Country accent or a Welsh accent or even a Cockney accent. And we're proud of those kind of people because they are the people who got us through the last war, and nobody would dare say anything against them. In fact, it's the aristocratic accent which is the other side of the fence, and people laugh at that nowadays, I'm afraid. In fact, you may think that my accent is a little cultured, but I assure you back in England, I have not quite a Cockney accent, but still an accent.
At least you mean to say your schoolmistress would not totally approve of you?
Oh, no, I should be corrected.
Judith,
Quite
I
a lot.
hate to think what's going to happen when you go back after 3 months here.
So do I.
You'll write me about that, won't you?
Yes.
I wanted to have time to ask you what you thought individuals could do in terms of eradicating prejudice. But our time's almost up. Anybody got a quick answer?
Well, I guess we should carefully examine the individual first before passing any judgment on him. And if we ever pass a judgment, we should be just with it.
That's a good note to
Absolutely,
end on.
absolutely.
Thank you, Ratnati, Yoriko, Judith, and Raul. Next week, we're going to continue on this subject of prejudice with 4 delegates from Africa, 1 white and 3 colored. The delegates from the
With that said, we have come to the end of today's presentation. But just before we close out, don't leave. Do not leave. I just have something to say about colored skin that they mentioned earlier, how they viewed colored skin. Or 2 of them mentioned that the darker skin people wants to bleach their skin to become lighter, and as well as the lighter skinned people, or what you call white people, would, you know, stay on the beach on the sand and try to get a tan. Now, the tan is okay. I do believe that it is okay to get a tan from time to time. It's very important to get some vitamin D. But the bleaching of the skin, I totally don't tolerate it. I don't believe in it. I don't believe anyone should do it. That is applying chemical to your skin to change it to a different color, to peel layers off your skin so that you can look lighter. I do not endorse that behavior. But I want to say, though, from a psychological perspective, that there has been this situation, not just with colored skin, but just that every individual that was born a part of a situation, whether it be you were born into a rich family or a poor family, you were born with genes that gives you long hair, you were born with vice versa, whatever it is. Normally people with short hair crave long hair, and those with short hair cut their hair off. Those with no eyebrows try to or wish they had it, and those with eyebrows scrape it off and draw a line there, you know. So we've seen the trend of people trying to experience the other side of life, except those that are alive don't want to be dead. Well, sometimes they actually want to die as well. But yeah, we've noticed this as a ever going and a long time trend, you know. It's only natural for when you're born into a situation you want to experience the other side. You know, when you were born rich, you want to, and in the city, you want to go and enjoy life in the countryside. You know, it's normally a nice experience to experience the countryside and in the valleys, as well as those that were poor and were born and were raised in that area. You know, they are excited to see the city life, and so that has always been a situation, and until today it is still remaining the same, where everybody wants to experience that which you weren't a part of, you know. So it's okay. I understand why darker skinned people wants to be lighter and lighter skinned people wants to take a tan and become brown. It's understandable, but the way you go about it is the part that I will not endorse as a colored person. All right, if you can find a way naturally to become lighter, then that's fine, you know. But yeah, anyway, that's it. We've come to the end of today's program. If you want to see more of this kind of thing, leave it in the comment section. Let me know what you think about the Filipino gentleman. He was really on point. The Japanese, the Indonesian was a little more reserved and a little bit shy. The other two that was pretty fluent, but she did very well anyway, nevertheless. All right, thank you so much. Remember to subscribe if you're not, hit the notification bell, and I will see you in the next video via your request. Thank you so much. Yeah. You know what I mean? Greetings, what going on out there in Babylon? Yeah, man. So here I am. We've just gone through a debate about Prejudice, and you've seen them for yourself talking about different cultural things, things that happen in their countries, their beliefs on particular things, and etc. etc. Anyway, um, I want to say greetings and I want to say thanks for those of you who watched from the beginning and for those of you who joined in and eventually um, watched along with us. I want to say greetings to Miss Yo-Yo Closet. Tristan Bell is here, SF Rose is here, and there might be a fifth Honey Bear and Paul. No, Super D. I'm not sure if Super D is still here. I'm not sure if Honey D is still here. Did I say Honey D? Honey Bear. But if you're still here, thanks for joining us. Now, I won't bother to discuss much of what we've just watched, but I certainly know that certain things is still a common practice even until today. Kane Sample, hey, greetings, how are you? Hey, TR buddy, how are you doing? Good to see you. I am at Walmart, but had to say hi. Thanks again for getting me over 1K back in the day. Those days are still, sometimes I wonder if I should go back to network streams. I've had it, I've gotten tired, and YouTube changed a lot of things about how we network, so of course that wasn't working exactly how it used to happen. But I do sometimes wonder if I should go back to network streaming since the TR show rose to prominence in 2019. Growing channels, that's what the TR show is known for, helping people to get to their goals and to get monetized and to get watch hours and to get subscribers and the whole works. It was good times, absolutely. PurpleTube, hey, great to have you, greetings. It was absolutely good times those days. In fact, I still reminisce on those days, and many times I say I certainly don't want to gain subscribers now that way. If I was under 1K, certainly I would do that to get to 1K, but at this point in my YouTube career I'm not sure if I want to get my subscribers like that, because other content creators have no time for other content creators. They don't have time to, you might find a tiny few, like 10 and maybe 20 people that will support you, but what sense having 14,000 subscribers and 20 of them support you? So, but yeah, I really did enjoy growing streams. I really enjoyed the whole work of doing all of that stuff. But they say time and place. They say there's a time and a season for everything under the sun. Last night I was rewatching one of my streams from way back, and I'm like, wow, this used to be fun. I used to have fun doing it, and there were so many things about network streams that I actually liked. Anyway, at this moment in time on the TR show, we're still finding a way or searching for something new. I have an idea of what I want to eventually do on the TR show. In fact, it's not just an idea. This was always what I wanted to do with the TR show eventually. But I'm still working on some stuff. Money is not so great these days in terms of back in the day I could buy things to work on the studio. Because I certainly don't want to always be streaming from the side room or the living room or right here. I want to, excuse me, I think my sinus is draining. I want to eventually get a studio where I can officially do what I do, without disturbing anyone or without anyone disturbing me. I remember they called the cops on me back in the day because I was very noisy. I actually talked very loud, and not only that I talked loud, in fact, the talking loud was not so much the problem, but my music was very heavy. You know, the bass and the rumbling. My next door neighbors called the cops one evening when I was growing and I was shouting and playing music, and I heard a knock at the door. When I went down, there was blue lights flashing, and the cops came. They said, "Hey, if you could tone it down a little bit." The next door neighbors, they are complaining that, the rumbling and the tumbling is shaking them off their beds. So it kind of killed the vibe. I didn't get to stream as lively as I wanted to, so it kind of killed the vibe a little bit. But yeah, now I'm thinking about getting back into it and do it, but I have to do it a particular way. Well, the good thing right now, I could actually do this stream like that now, because what happened now, I learn how to fix my system, my PA system, so I can actually play the music without disturbing anybody. So I can literally turn down the inside monitors, the speakers. I can turn those off, and the music is still played, and you can hear it. Like, for instance, I played this song earlier, and in the house you don't hear anything. If I put my headset on, I can hear it, and if I turn the stream on, like on my phone, I can hear it on my phone, but through the main speakers, there's nothing coming through it, and you can hear it. Like, for instance, here's a song. Oh, that was a silent song. I forgot I turned on the entire thing.
Rasta loving her where she want, Rasta loving her where she need. Me say she want a man figure her and the loving and the kissing just to make she feel like she wrap up in a fantasy. Yeah. Whoa, yeah. I came home early from work. She was on the telephone talking to her best friend. She didn't know I was around. I really didn't need to listen to her conversation, but they were talking about another man in my home. So I decided to play it cool, though I was feeling like a fool. Let me hear her tell her friends that she feel left from cause. If it's meant to be, I'll come back to you. To my delight, I heard her explain what it is that she was saying. She said, what you really need is the loving of a strong man. You need a man who can deliver, a man who make your body quiver, a man to give you loving all night long. You'd feel it 7 days after he's gone. Rasta loving her way she wants, Rasta loving her way she needs. Me say she want a man figure her and the loving and the kissing just to make she feel like she wrap up in the fantasy. Rasta loving her way she wants, Rasta loving her way she need. Me say she want a man figure her and the loving and the kissing just to make she feel like she wrap up in the fantasy. Now comes another day, same old scenario. Sit back, let me tell you how the story goes. She said, Mama, I've got something to tell you. Please don't be disappointed. The man you've chosen for me treats me horribly. She's found somebody new from the other side of town.
Yeah, so that is it. No, I learned how to do that, so that is no longer a problem. So if the police should ever return, it would never be a case of noise abatement. I want to say greetings to OHYZ. I can't remember your other name before this name. Greetings and welcome to the show. Thank you for joining. I'm trying to actually remember what your name was before you called yourself this name. OHYZ Journey. Can't totally remember. But anyway, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining us on your journey here on the TR show. Now, if you notice, the title was talking about prejudice, color skin versus white. Just call me OZ. Okay. All right. Yeah. OZ. How are you, OZ? It's great to see you. I can tell you are from the Philippines or somewhere thereabout. Thank you so much for coming in. So, the topic, when you hear me talking right now, it sounds like what I'm saying now has nothing to do with the topic. Well, you are correct. That part of the show is actually already past. And I just thought I should come on and just vibe with you a little bit, you know, say hi, hello, and see what's going on in your side of the world. The stream was short. I think the stream lasted for like something about 37 minutes. Now we're in 50. It's what for the...
That's it. This is why I was just writing. I can't remember the first part of the name.
I remember your face. I just couldn't remember the Whiteford part. It's Whiteford before, but this is my new channel. Oh, that's your new page. Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, I know you're not. I know you're never leaving me. We're friends for life. That's what I'm sure about. There are some people that was here with me back in the days on the TR show, and there are some people that I know will forever be my friend on YouTube. And there's a possible chance if I ever come to the Philippines, I would try to see you. You know, I would try to come over and drink some coconut water, eat some calalo and saltfish, or you know, I would have you make some of the Filipinos staple dishes. You know, I don't know what's popular. I don't know what's popular in the Philippines, but I would certainly have you get me whatever is popular. I hope it's not frogs or alligator, or worms or snakes. Because every country is known for something else. Anyway, I'm about to close off this particular stream. Wishing one day, actually, I am. There are some places in the world that I want to go while I am alive. I don't want to go there when I'm a ghost and just ghosting around. And the Philippines is in my top 5 countries that I want to go. It's funny. Eat balut. What is balut? A lizard? I have a top 5 countries that I want to go right now. I have gone so many places in the world, so many countries, and some of the main ones that I've always wanted to go, I have not gone to them yet. One being the Philippines, the other being Indonesia. I would love to go to New Zealand at some point. Australia. Duck eggs! What you said, duck eggs? I've heard about it. Do you think the taste is different? Do you think eggs overall taste different from other eggs, or an egg is just an egg, whether it was laid by a reptile or a bird or a cow? But yeah, now that you say duck eggs, I think I remember seeing duck eggs at some point. Now, since the stream was about prejudice, I want to end by saying, there's a lot of people that would have loved to experiment. Human beings overall, it's yummy, love to explore. So sometimes, if you were born one way and you see other people looking another way, you want to know what it would feel like being that way, you know. So you have dark-skinned people who try to get their skin lighter to see what it's like, or what they would look like being lighter, while you know, lighter-skinned people sometimes try to get a tan to be darker, you know, just to see what it would be like. Those with long hair. People with long hair normally cut it off. I normally see long hair people cut their hair for whatever reason, I don't know. And the ones that has short hair actually do everything. They buy extension. They try everything to get their hair rocking, but it's just not rocking. Not just egg, but a duck. It's holy smokes! Not just egg, but the duck itself. Also, you eat the duck. This is funny. So you actually put the duck in the pot, and then you crack the eggs and sprinkle it over the duck itself. You know, throw some seasoning on it, some scallion, thyme, onions, tomatoes, and whatever. Steam it, fry it, and then you have, what you call it again? Balut. Well, I'm coming to the Philippines one day, and Whiteford Vlogs, you're gonna cook for me. You're gonna cook balut for me, duck with the eggs. That was funny. ADR Ian, no. He's vomiting. He's like, I don't know if it's a he or a she, but I more believe it's a he, since there's a Ian on the end. So you wouldn't eat duck eggs? I've never had it before. Check baluts, it's yummy. Adrian. Well on it. Adrian. I'm my cousin Adrian this. Lord of mercy. Adrian, let me know if this is you. Let me know if this is you, Adrian. Adrian Palmer. Let me know if that's you. Cause if I you that, you know, at the second time one of my cousin Palmer coming at the chat come do this to me. Walter was the first one coming here with one name. His name was Jamaican Hot Boy. But him never spell it out. Him come in with a name spelled JCHOT. Yes, JCHOT boy. So when I saw it first, thank you, Rose. When I saw it first, I was like, J Chat boy. That's how I pronounced it first. I'm like, what's that? J Chat. Let me highlight this. I was like, J Chat boy. J Chat boy. And then I was like, no, yeah, J Chat boy. And he was dying from laughter in the chat, be like, yo, really? Now look at this one here. ADR space IAN space no. Now I want you all in the chat to tell me, what do you make of that? If you see that name, what would come to your mind first? Alright. Yeah man, big up ADR, Ian. No. But then it's Adrian. Damn. Well, go on, cuz. Well, I hope it's you, because I am assuming right now, because you haven't answered the question if it's you. So I am assuming, which is something that I don't do regularly, but yeah. All right, so let's go take a look at that meal that Whiteford Vlogs is talking about. I think I prefer calling you Whiteford Vlogs for now, rather than your new name, OZ Journey. Balut, B-A-L-U-T, B-A-L-U-T. No. No, sir. Adrian, you are right. I would not want to share. I would not want Afi Roots. greetings you bring. Give thanks. Yeah, I would not want to have this meal. Royalty Cosmos, hey, greetings. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. Spicy. Put spicy, vinegar, and salt. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. I wouldn't have put the two together. I would have said ADR Ian has two separate words. Right. Okay, so somebody is thinking the way I'm thinking. Now, look at this food. This is a popular food in the Philippines. Lord have mercy. Hell no. Hell to the no. This is a duck egg. And you have to wait until the duck starts to gain, what you call it, the fetus starts to grow. And then this is what you're going to eat. Oh no. Oh no. Then you're going to eat the... Nope. Holy smokes. Nah. No, sir. Not at all. No, sir. Me not eat it. Nah, sir. Me no want this food if you eat. So when I come to the Philippines and you gonna offer me this balut food, me no want none. Thank you, but I will pass. Duck embryo. Oh my gosh. Duck embryo. It's yummy than normal egg. Yeah, right. What I can say is that it should be a little bit more filling, because there is more to it than just a yolk and white. But it has toes, feet, it has a beak. Me nah nyam it. Nope. Me nah nyam no. This is one food that I'm not going to eat. I'd rather starve to death. Me nah eat it. No, sir, me nah eat it. And it is very popular in the Philippines. It's not nice looking at the picture. Fam. Better taste. Yeah, I know. Better taste. Right. Nope. No, sir. Not at all. Me no want this to eat. I don't know. I don't want it. This is my face right now. You see that face? That's my face looking at balut. Is the worst food. Hold on. Balut is... Listen to this. Balut is the worst food in sea, says Global Survey. So Global Survey says it is the worst food. Look at this face. You're like, hell no. Hell no. Filipinos have their personal picks when it comes to local dishes. But two of the country's common faves, Lumpiang, Shanghai, and Tortang Talong, both took the highest spot at the best rated Southeast Asian food ranking of international food website Taste Atlas. On Facebook, Taste Atlas posted a photo showing the list of some of the well-known dishes within sea. Lumpiang Shanghai and Tortang Talong both landed a rating of 4.8 out of 5 stars. The two Pinoy food was followed by Indonesia's Borbor Ayam, which received a 4.7 ratings. Taste Atlas said Lumpiang Shanghai was the most popular variety of lumpia and crispy, deep-fried Filipino snack that evolved from Chinese spring rolls. It added that the crispy snack is usually served with sweet and sour dipping sauce, which is on point. And then here is a it looks great here. The foods look great in this picture, but wala ne. Do some legwork if you want strawberries. Lord have mercy. I was missing the comments. The smell alone would sick my stomach. Boy, I tell you. And it probably don't smell bad, you know. I don't think so. I doubt that, Afi Roots. I strongly doubt that. I don't know any of you here. I don't know if any of you here, if you've ever been asleep, and while you're in your sleep, you smell something really nice. Somebody's cooking, and whatever is cooking smells really nice. And when you go to look what is cooking, you'll be like, then this smells so good. So smell is actually deceiving. So I think there's a strong chance that that particular dish smells a lot better than it tastes. You know, I might be wrong too. Yeah, man, when you start to cook things, trust me, if you put some newspaper in a one pot and throw some seasoning on it and fry it, it's gonna smell nice. Yeah. If you put some newspaper to soak in water, or soak it in egg, and season it, fry it, you wouldn't like to know what the smell is. The smell is like, yeah, you're gonna smell nice, but when you realize that you're eating newspaper, you're gonna be like, oh hell, no way. You know what I mean? Eggplant with egg. Oh, so this one is eggplant with egg. Remember, it's a all right, Afi Roots, you have a point. You have a point when you say, remember, it's an egg. So the thing now with eggs is when you crack it open, that point in time, the smell of the egg is not very fantastic. It's not what you want. Oh, not true. Not true. When you boil eggs, the smell is not nice either. So raw eggs and boiled eggs does not carry the greatest of scent, but if you put something on it, then it might very well smell like something that is good for your stomach. But nothing in these eggs look like some... You're right, you know? You're right, you know, Afi Roots? Because I'm just looking at the eggs now and realizing that them never put no seasoning on it. It look like them just boiled the blasted duck. Throw some salt on it, and it's time to eat and drink and be merry. Well, when I go to the Philippines, because I'm going there one day, I will remember that if I'm offered this meal, to say no. Yeah, I'm going to say no to this one. And with that said, I think I've streamed long enough now. We are at 1 hour, 8 minutes, 17 seconds. So I think it's a good place and time in the stream to say, have a great night. So thank you all for joining. Thanks for keeping me company, and I look forward to seeing you. Where Adrian there? Where him gone? That me can't take with my family them, you know. When my family them come on my stream, you know, them just say hello and disappear. I'm gonna call him. I'm going to call him and cuss him. It's 2023 now. Do better than that. Oh, the information was actually there. All right. So before I go, now there was more information on it. I was just not noticing that you had different type of balut. So you have over here Philippines, you have the eating, you have the embryo. No, I'm actually looking at it wrong. I'm looking at it wrong. You have the cook ones, So you have different categories. You have the cook ones. You have the duck embryo. You have the boiled duck. I see. You have the cooked duck, boiled duck, and the duck embryo. Okay. I'm just realizing. All right. Again, thanks to you all for joining, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next upload. Until then, peace out. Have a great night. Have a great evening. Whatever you do it safely.
Rasta loving her way she want, Rasta loving her way she need. Me say she want a man figure her and the loving and the kissing just to make she feel like she wrap up in a fantasy. Yeah. Whoa, yeah. I came home early from work. She was on the telephone talking to her best friend. She didn't know I was around. I really didn't need to listen to her conversation, but they were talking about another man in my home. So I decided to play it cool, though I was feeling like a fool. Let me hear her tell her friends that she feel left from cause. If it's meant to be, I'll come back to you. To my delight, I heard her explain what it is that she was saying. She said, what you really need is the loving of a strong man. You need a man who can deliver, a man who make your body quiver, a man to give you loving all night long. You'd feel it 7 days after he's gone. Rasta loving the way she wants, Rasta loving the way she needs. Me say she want a man figure her and the loving and the kissing just to make she feel like she up in the fantasy. Rasta loving the way she wants, Rasta loving the way she needs. Me say she want a man figure her and the loving and the kissing just to make she feel like she up in the fantasy. Now comes another day, same old scenario. Sit back, let me tell you how the story goes. She says, Mama, I've got something to tell you. Please don't be disappointed. The man you've chosen for me treats me horribly. She's found somebody new from the other side of town. Treats her so damn good, she doesn't want to come down. Takes her for long walks, stroll around the road, cooks her dinners, rubs her shoulders down to her toes. She needs a man who can deliver, a man who'd make her body quiver, a man to give her loving all night long. She'd feel it 7 days after he's gone. Rasta loving her way she wants, Rasta loving her way she needs. Me say she want a man figure her and the loving and the kissing just to make she feel like she up in the fantasy. Rasta loving her way she wants, Rasta loving her way she needs. Me say she want a man figure her and the loving and the kissing just to make she feel like she up in the fantasy. Rasta loving her way she wants, Rasta loving her way she needs. Me say she want a man figure her and the loving and the kissing just to make she feel like she up in a fantasy. Rasta loving what she wants. Me say she want a man figure her and the loving and the kissing just to make she feel like she up in a fantasy. Rasta loving the way she wants, Rasta loving the way she needs. Me say she want a man figure her and the loving and the kissing just to make she feel like she up in a fantasy. Rasta loving the way she wants, Rasta loving the way she needs. Me say she want a man figure her and the loving and the kissing just to make she feel like she up in a fantasy. Rasta loving the way she wants, Rasta loving the way she needs. Me say she want a man figure her and the loving and the kissing just to make she feel like she up in a fantasy. Rasta loving the way she wants, Rasta loving the way she needs. Me say she want a man figure her and the loving and the kissing just to make she feel like she up in a fantasy. loving the way she wants. Rasta loving the way she